Station now. HUL to demerge its ice cream business and the entity will be listed by this year. CNBC-TV18 Shilpa Ranipeta and Mangalam Maloo spoke to HUL CFO Ritesh Tiwari about this and began by asking about the rationale and the details of the demerger.
Ice cream overall has a very distinct business model. It runs in cold chain in terms of manufacturing, distribution. It is prone to seasonality more compared to any other business that we have. It also has higher capital intensity compared to other business that we have. This is what makes ice cream very different to the rest of the business. At HUL, it has low synergies because of this very reason with all other categories that we end up doing business with. So that was one reason why we said that we need to have a solution which is very different. So hence, if ice cream is run with a focused management, with different agile strategies which are suited to its own distinctive business model, it can unlock more growth going forward.
Right. So if you could give us a sense, as delicious as the business idea and the potential and the product sound, it's a very tough business as well because supply chains, the capital that it requires for you to have a cold chain across the country, etc. If you could give us basic numbers on the ice cream business, it's about 2 to 3% of your revenue right now. What kind of EBITDA margins does it make? What kind of capital is invested in the ice cream business?
Yeah. So ice cream is roughly for us an 1,800 crore business. And it makes, if I look at last few years of margin, it makes low single-digit margin. This is a business now which is in investment phase. We are a national player. We supply ice cream across the length and breadth of the country. And when you do that, the overall cost of running the business is high, which is why a business like this gets a lot of benefit when it starts to scale up. Our business for the last 1 decade has grown in double digit. And going forward, given the headroom which is there to grow of penetration consumption, we expect this growth trajectory to get even stronger going forward. And which is why today when the business operates at a low single-digit margin on an average, we will get into an investment phase further. So margins will further go a little bit down. But from there onwards, as the operating leverage kicks in, we'll then start seeing acceleration of margin in times to come.
You spoke about low single-digit margins is what you see right now. And then after the investment phase, I think your listed peers does about 5 to 7%, if I'm not wrong. Is that where you would look to get at eventually, or do you think post-investment phase there is, scope to expand margins further beyond that?
When it comes to material margin, we make industry-leading margins. When it comes to total margin, when you add variable cost plus fixed cost, our margins are lower compared to the benchmark that you quoted. And the reason for that is because we are a national player, and hence our infrastructure is spread. As you start getting more amount of scale further in the business, you start getting operating leverage. So the second component today where we are, let me say, under index compared to market, we'll start getting that component also getting counted in terms of improvement in margin. And once that starts to kick in with further amount of growth and scale, we should be able to reach high single-digit margins.
And what happens to HUL's overall margins, because our ice cream is fairly margin dilutive, and what happens to HUL's own ROC? How much improvement do you see there?
Yeah. So ice cream overall is 3% of turnover. It's 1% of our profit. So there'll be small improvement in our ROC and margin after the demerger, but it is small and immaterial, I would say.
Right. And ice cream as a business, though you spoke about the large scope of growth that there is, it is still seasonal in nature.
Right.
And I think you have spoken in the past, and you've been one of the players that's spoken about how you're looking at deseasonalizing the business. So how do we look at that? Because if an investor is looking to invest in a company, they would want to be able to reap profits or returns through the year. It cannot be in one season. So how are you looking at deseasonalizing this?
Now, ice cream can be seen as a dessert, and hence it plays a role in the entire post-meal sweet category. It also has a role as a snacking category. And once you start looking at it a little differently like that, you start seeing that there are many occasions more where ice cream can be center of the plate. We keep seeing 100 to 200 BPS move that keeps happening from season to non-season ice cream with every year of effort that we end up making. So roughly, I would say little less than half the business ends up happening during the peak of the season. And then the balance business is spread across the balance quarters in the year.
Do you have to pay a royalty to the Magnum ice cream? And
so today as HUL, we have a royalty contract, which is for all the categories that we deal with in Unilever. And once ice cream gets separated, our current contract runs till January 28. So we're going to pass on the royalty contract, which is all three components. It is component for the brand trademark. The brands that we have in India today, Quality Walls, Magnum, Cornetto, these brand trademarks are owned by Unilever. So the access and license to these trademarks will be passed on to Quality Walls India Limited under the same arrangement, existing arrangement that we have. After the demerger is completed in India, and once the global company gets also listed, and they might end up getting into a new relationship of royalty with them later point in time.
When do you expect this entire exercise to complete and shareholders of HUL to get Quality World's shares
the
in their
listing.
demat account?
Yeah. We expect by end of this financial year, the business to get demerged and listed.
Right.
And start trading as well.
You believe it can double over the next 3 years or 4 years with better margins?
I hope it does.
Okay. Let's move on.
Let's move on then. Of course, coming to what everyone's been talking about when it comes to HUL, which is a change in management right now. I believe Priya Nair has taken over. It's been
That's
a couple
right.
of days.
It's been first week for her in the office.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So, a few, initial thoughts once Priya's come over. What's it been like? And also,
How's the vibe changed? Let's put it that way.
Let's start off with that.
Yeah. So Priya is a homegrown talent. It's been 30 years. In fact, we celebrated her 30 years at HUL and Unilever this week. As Priya comes in, of course, she will have her own set of thinking and thoughts looking into the business. Priya, in last role, globally, she was president for the global beauty and well-being business. And that and we've spoken about it continuously, beauty well-being is an extremely important, strategically important category for us in India and segment for us. The expectation of growth from us for beauty well-being is much higher. And all that experience that Priya has in leading the global business will be extremely important for us as she starts to settle into the business.
This is also coming at a time when the consumer sentiment itself is at an inflection point. We are seeing acceleration in rural demand, and urban is also gradually picking up. So amidst all of this, with the new, wind beneath the sails of HUL, or beneath the wings of HUL right now coming in with new leadership, do you believe that the time is opportune for the company to grow a lot faster over the next 3 years than it has over the last 3 years?
Yeah. So there are a few important parameters which determines overall consumption climate and FMCG growth. Number one is disposable income that consumers have. And number two is consumer sentiment. These both items are looking better overall as a country today compared to what it looked a year or 2 years before. So we have seen that the MAT trends, MAT trends are stable for FMCG. In the latest quarter, last quarter, we saw overall consumption demand, we saw an uptick. Rural now is growing ahead of urban. Both have improved. Urban is also improved. Rural is also improved, but rural is now growing ahead of urban. Put together, we see that overall macro conditions have improved, and we expect that this to sustain.
Well, with that, we call time on this edition of Trading Hour. That was the management of HUL, an exclusive conversation with Mangalam and Shilpa. By the way, just pull up Subros before we call time on the show. The numbers were just out a few minutes earlier. Revenues were up almost 9%. The margins saw a bit of a contraction on a year-on-year basis as well. The stock is now down almost 6% as we speak. Take your leave from Rima, Sonal and me. Thank you for watching. Halftime Report on the other side.